Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 3 of Everyday Differences. I am your host, Justin Bachman, and with me this week is my friend Gregg Levine.
Hi.
How you doing, Gregg?
Hey, Justin.
Very glad to have you on the show. I'm really glad you could make time to come and be
here.
with us.
Always fun to be with you.
Awesome. Now,
Like your t-shirt. Embrace your differences. I'm wearing a boring shirt. You should have given me a t-shirt.
Don't worry, I wish I had the exuding style that you bring. Now, the way the show works, I'm going to ask you a couple questions that are serious about who you are, what you do, what makes you different, the regular things about the show, and then it's going to get a little bit silly, it's going to be fun, it's going to have a question round, and just all bets are off, ridiculous questions and answers. But the first part is the normal interview, so...
Go for it.
Gregg, first question is, who are you? Like, how old are you? Where are you from? Just what makes you Gregg Levine?
55 years old. Spent 33 years with one company. No one does that these days. A company called BP. And the last job I had with BP was the best job I had with BP. I was in charge of marketing and sponsorship for BP for the London Olympics. So.
Now, what was... You said you were at the Paralympics. Would you say there was one moment in particular that just made you say, wow, that really inspired you?
You know, I have to tell you, I was at the Olympics, but I was much, much more moved by the Paralympics. People don't even realize this. And God, I hope they show part of the Paralympics after Sochi. But the Paralympics are for people who've got some sort of a disability. Generally, it's physical, and they compete just like at the Olympics.
Sounds absolutely amazing. Now, Gregg, I also do have to ask, I know already, but the viewers at home don't, what exactly makes you different from all of the people around you?
Well, I, for a long, long time, wouldn't have told people this. I kept this very, very much a secret, but I'm gay. And in the business world, and certainly when I was going into college and I was going for internships and I was trying to advance my career, I just didn't tell people I was gay because I wanted to really move up that corporate ladder, maybe end with the fantastic job like I did with the Olympics, and that would not have been possible if people would have known I was gay, because there are people who just don't like gay people. Mm-hmm. I wanted people to get to know me as Gregg before they got to think about, oh, he's gay. So I think that's what makes me different, and as I've accepted it more, I think it's something pretty cool and proud of, and I tell people now. So I've changed a lot about who I am and how I've embraced my difference about being gay.
There's a lot of things today that are very much pro be who you are, especially with the LGBT community in people of my age, teenagers, young adults. And the one thing that comes to mind for me is the It Gets Better campaign. It's a very powerful message. It's amazing to see, even as a person who is not gay, who is not going through something like that. But I do have to ask, with the It Gets Better campaign, it's almost more of a long term. I would ask, do you have a piece of advice for somebody who's in that state while they're waiting for it to get better? What would you say is the best thing to do?
Yeah, Justin, that's a great question. You got to pick someone that you trust, that you can talk to, and that you know will have unconditional love for you and stand by you. So it could be someone in your faith community, someone at your church or your synagogue or your mosque. It could be a teacher that you trust. It could be a neighbor. But it's someone that you know that you can talk to freely and be who you are, and they'll help you so that they will tell you it gets better, and they know it'll get better. And there's all kinds of ways to find some of these people. If you don't know people, there's ways to go online and search for help groups, groups like PFLAG, groups like an LGBT center in your town. But Google and find help. It gets better, but you may need help talking to someone to help get through it.
It is also my understanding, I'm aware that you're very, very involved with the gay LGBT community now, and us being from Cleveland, there's something very important coming up with that community. Could you tell me a little bit about Gay Games, I believe, 9?
August 9th are the 9th gay games in the world. And as I mentioned, I worked on the Olympics in London. So when I retired from BP and I found out that Cleveland was hosting the gay games, it was like a perfect match. So I'm working on promoting the gay games in Cleveland. So now you have to be 18 to compete and to be involved in the gay games, but you can still come to Cleveland and volunteer. So we're going to need a lot of helpers. So we're expecting 10,000 participants from all over the world. So far we've got 27 countries represented in 46 states,
That's
registered,
amazing.
Coming, and it's all kinds of sport. And so if you're not 18 and you can't compete, you can still come to Cleveland. We need volunteers. And you can go on the website. This is going to sound like a commercial, Justin.
Do it.
So
Promote away. Look
go
straight into the camera.
Okay, go to www.gg9cle.com. And that's the Gay Games 9 CLEs for Cleveland.
Yes. Now, Greg, it is that time of the show. Indeed, it is the question round. It is time for us to drop all of the serious tones, anything like that. All bets are off. It is time for me to come up with ridiculous questions off of the top of my head with the question microphone.
Go ahead. Ask.
That was wonderful.
I'm ready. Go ahead.
All right. Now, if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would that food be, and how many times a day would you eat it?
Very easy. It would be dark chocolate from, we have great chocolates in Cleveland, Ohio, a place called Mitchell's Chocolate or Malley's Chocolate, and that would be 5 or 6 times a day, for sure.
If you could go back in time and meet one person, who would it be and why?
Well, this could be biased because of the history, but I would absolutely want to meet Nelson Mandela. I cannot imagine how you take so much anger and so much negativity and make it into a positive and change hate into love. So I would love to have met him and tried to see how he was able to do that. That would have been remarkable.
Amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, this week's guest has been Gregg Levine of the Gay Games. What is your official position?
I'm on the executive committee, and I'm in charge of culture and ceremony.
Greg, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Justin, enjoyed it very much. Thank you.
Would you like to tell the audience the closing phrase?
The closing phrase is www.gg9cle.com. Come visit Cleveland, be a volunteer, donate your time.
Hey again, I decided that I wanted to get some in-person and true video responses for the weekly conversation, and so when I was in Cincinnati speaking over the weekend, I decided to take some videos of people giving me their answers. Now this is to last week's weekly conversation, which is what's your favorite way to make someone smile. But every week I'm going to have video answers of last week's, so if you want to have yours possibly in my next video, leave your answer to this week's weekly conversation, which is what's your favorite thing about you, as a video response to this video. I can't wait to see what you come up with, and I will see you next week.
Excellent. Be weird. Trying to make them feel good about themselves. Be nice. Act crazy.
Hello again. Hope you liked this episode of Everyday Differences. Episode 3, my guest was my good friend Gregg Levine. I know I had absolutely a fantastic time interviewing him, and I hope you had a great time getting to know him. The website, of course, to check out Gay Games 9, which Gregg is very involved with, is gg9cle.com. Links to that will be in the description. And as always, don't forget to put your answers to the weekly conversation in the description below. This week's weekly conversation is what's your favorite thing about you? I can't wait to hear what you have to say. As always, like me on Facebook, facebook.com/Justin Bachman Speaker, Twitter and Instagram @JustinBachman3. I love staying in touch with you. Never forget to embrace your differences. I'll see you next week.